In the first half of 2024, the U.S. Supreme Court has issued several controversial rulings that have significantly impacted various aspects of American society and the legal landscape. These decisions have touched upon critical issues such as the power of federal agencies, presidential immunity, abortion rights, social media regulations, and religious liberties. Chevron doctrine overturned. One of the most significant rulings was the Supreme Court's decision to overturn the Chevron doctrine, a 40-year precedent that required courts to defer to federal agencies' interpretations of ambiguous statutes. This doctrine had been a cornerstone of administrative law, allowing agencies like the Environmental Protection Agency and the Food and Drug Administration to implement regulations based on their expertise. The conservative majority of the court argued that Chevron deference allowed agencies to wield too much power without proper oversight, thereby infringing on the separation of powers. Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Neil Gorsuch emphasized returning to a judicial approach that does not systematically favor government agencies. Roberts suggested that the Chevron doctrine allows agencies to change course, even when Congress has given them no power to do so. Gorsuch, in his lengthy concurring opinion, stressed that the decision marked a return to traditional judicial principles, asserting that judges should resolve cases without systemic bias in favor of the government. Critics, however, argue that overturning Chevron undermines the ability of agencies to effectively address complex regulatory issues, potentially leading to inconsistent judicial decisions and regulatory uncertainty. Trump's immunity and January 6 charges. The court also faced high-stakes cases involving former President Donald Trump. In a closely watched case, the court deliberated on whether Trump could claim immunity from criminal prosecution for actions taken while in office. This case is crucial for the ongoing investigation into Trump's role in the January 6 Capitol riot. The question of presidential immunity remains unresolved, leaving significant implications for the principle of presidential accountability. Legal experts suggest that if the court grants broad immunity, it could set a precedent that shields former presidents from legal consequences for their actions, potentially undermining the rule of law. Additionally, the court addressed the scope of charges related to the January 6 insurrection. Defense lawyers argued that prosecutors had overreached in using certain federal statutes to charge rioters. The court's interpretation could affect hundreds of cases, including those against Trump, potentially narrowing the legal tools available for prosecuting such offenses. This case highlights the ongoing legal and political battles surrounding the events of January 6 and the broader implications for American democracy, abortion, and emergency medical treatment. In another landmark decision, the court ruled on a case from Idaho, addressing whether state hospitals must perform emergency abortions despite state bans. This case tested the boundaries of federal requirements under the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act against state abortion restrictions. Idaho argued that its hospitals should not be compelled to offer abortions under Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act, even in emergency situations. The ruling marked the first significant Supreme Court decision on abortion since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, underscoring the ongoing legal battles over reproductive rights. This decision has far-reaching implications for women's health and reproductive rights, particularly in states with stringent abortion bans. Advocates for reproductive rights argue that denying emergency abortions endangers women's lives and health, while opponents claim that the ruling respects states' rights to regulate medical practices. The ruling reflects the court's continuing influence on the contentious issue of abortion and the potential for further legal challenges in the future. Social media and free speech. The Supreme Court also tackled issues related to social media regulation. In cases involving laws from Texas and Florida aimed at preventing social media companies from allegedly suppressing conservative viewpoints, the court faced a dilemma. The conservative majority had to balance concerns about free speech with the traditional First Amendment rights of private companies. These decisions could redefine the extent to which states can regulate content moderation practices on platforms like Facebook and Twitter. In the cases of NetChoice, Paxton, and Moody v. NetChoice, The court examined laws that prohibit social media companies from removing content based on the user's viewpoint. The court's rulings in these cases could set significant precedents for the regulation of online speech and the role of government in moderating digital platforms. The decisions highlight the growing influence of social media on public discourse and the legal complexities of balancing free speech with content moderation. Voting rights and electoral integrity. The case of Allen v. Milligan was pivotal for voting rights. The court's decision in this case had the potential to weaken the Voting Rights Act of 1965 by upholding racially gerrymandered electoral maps. However, in a surprising move, the conservative justices split, with Chief Justice Roberts and Justice Kavanaugh joining the liberals to preserve protections against racial discrimination in voting. The court ruled 5-4 to annul the contested electoral maps, emphasizing the importance of maintaining fair and equal voting rights. This decision was a significant victory for voting rights advocates, who feared that the court might erode the protections afforded by the Voting Rights Act. The ruling underscores the ongoing struggle over electoral integrity and the role of the judiciary in safeguarding democratic principles. It also highlights the unpredictable nature of Supreme Court decisions and the potential for unexpected alliances among the justices. Religious liberty and lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender rights. Religious liberty continued to be a contentious issue. In 303 Creative VividNews, the court sided with a web designer who refused to create wedding websites for same-sex couples, citing religious beliefs. This ruling has sparked fears of increased discrimination under the guise of religious freedom. Critics argue that it opens the door for businesses to deny services to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender individuals based on religious objections, thereby undermining anti-discrimination protections. The decision in 303 Creative VividNews is part of a broader trend of the court favoring religious plaintiffs in cases involving religious liberties. Since Justice Amy Coney Barrett joined the court, there has been an unbroken streak of wins for Christian plaintiffs in major religion cases. This trend raises concerns about the implications for minority religious groups and the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community, as the court's rulings increasingly reflect conservative Christian values. Reverend Naomi Washington Leafart, a Black queer church leader and former faith work director for the National Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender Task Force, expressed concern that these decisions perpetuate a narrow view of religious liberty that privileges conservative Christian beliefs over the rights of others. She argues that the court's rulings contribute to a climate of religious intolerance and discrimination, affecting not only lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender individuals, but also members of minority religions and secular communities. Impact and public perception. These rulings have profound implications for American society, influencing everything from the regulatory powers of federal agencies to individual rights and freedoms. The decisions reflect the court's shifting dynamics and the influence of its conservative majority. Critics argue that the court is increasingly out of step with public opinion and that its rulings may erode trust in judicial impartiality. Proponents, however, view these decisions as necessary corrections that uphold constitutional principles and limit governmental overreach. Moreover, these rulings signify a broader ideological shift that could reshape the legal landscape for years to come. The court's stance on these issues also highlights a deepening divide in American politics, where judicial interpretations increasingly reflect partisan ideologies. This trend has sparked vigorous public debate and heightened scrutiny of the court's role in addressing contemporary social and political issues. The impact of these decisions extends beyond the immediate legal ramifications, potentially altering the fabric of American democracy and governance. That's all for today's video. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss an update. We value your feedback, so leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for your support and see you in the next video.